So on the antimicrobial side, I think it's important to know how this differentiates itself from a disinfectant, because I think, in our industry, often we're classed as a disinfectant, and that's the first thing that we need to address. So a disinfectant on the surface will only have high efficacy while it's wet. Once it dries out, it loses considerable efficacy and really only is working on the surface for around a 15-minute period of time. So they're really great and very highly charged when there's contamination there. But after it dries, when the kids come back at school or teachers or what have you, and they're touching the surface, it's obviously contaminated again until you disinfect. So what that lends itself to believe is this unhealthy cycle of overusing of disinfectants. And, disinfectants, as we all know, are quite toxic. They're chlorine based, and they need to be, or alcohol based, or what have you, or even salt. And all of those things are very harsh for the substrate itself, but also not great to be overusing in a confined space like a school. So the overuse of it becomes unhealthy, and that's where a long-term antimicrobial comes in. So the long-term antimicrobial coating is very highly charged when wet, like a disinfectant, but it will cure to the surface, and once dried, act as a coating which will create an inhospitable environment for pathogens to live, breed, and grow. Because it's not just about killing what's there or terminating what's there at the time, it's also about not having an environment where they can't live, breed, and grow, right? And I'm not just talking about viruses, but I'm talking about bacteria and fungi and lots of other of those nasties that are out there too. That is important. I think the coronavirus has spotlighted pathogens, but they were always around, of course. So this will enable a 24/7 level of protection in your schools, but also being a water-based product, which is why I brought up the hydrosilix technology. It's a non-leaching sustainable product as well. So once cured and dried to the surface, it doesn't leach into the environment, right? So you could think of it somewhat like a paint, right? When it's dried, it's there. If a kid touches it, it's not being transferred to their hands, right? But what's actually doing the termination of the bacteria or the virus itself is little nanoswords in the coating. So in the coating itself is little spikes, and the coating has the opposite charge to what a microorganism is charged with. And so when they meet, it gets pulled into the coating, and the actual termination mechanism is the spike itself. So we're able to say that we have a mechanical kill through the spike rather than a chemical one, which is what an alcohol or a chlorine will do.